Hello everybody and welcome to the penultimate round of the Clark St James GT3 Championship here on the Tanso Racing Group. It's time for Road Atlanta before we head to Donington Park next week and our finale for the season. Apologies for being slightly late. We are here though, we're just about 30 seconds away from the end of qualifying with myself, Ian Lillery and James Parfitt with me again as well. 15 drivers loaded into the session at the moment, 12 of which who have set times here in the qualifying session, and we're not far away from getting ready to go here at Road Atlanta. Very much looking forward to seeing what this round is going to bring us this time around as this season comes to a close. Andy White currently on top in this championship standings by 24 points over Harry Hartley-Price, and then Dylan Pace-Bliss, who's a further 6 points further behind. If either of those drivers, or indeed anybody else, are going to overtake Andy White, and indeed Phil Giles, who's leading the AM standings at the moment, they're going to need to gain some points here today. Good evening, James. It's good to be here for GT3s at Road Atlanta at the latter point of this season. Looking forward to getting this race underway.
Yeah, I think this is going to be a good one. I love Road Atlanta. You know, there's a few circuits that me and you haven't agreed on recently, but I'd actually like Road Atlanta. I think it's a great circuit for these little GT3s, and I think it's one that is going to provide great racing action here. As much as it can all go right, it can all go wrong as well, so they've got to be a little bit careful how they manage this.
They certainly do, as the checker flag now flies and the sessions, or indeed the laps I should say, are being completed. It looks like Sean Clark is going to be the last driver to set a time. Mark Wesley just went over the line and went up to 8th place. Does Clark go any quicker here in the 6th place? Can he maybe even take pole right at the very end? He's only a quarter of a second off of Phil Giles at the moment. There he is through the final corner and over the line in the Porsche. Is that an improvement? No, it's very close. It's only half a tenth away from his previous best, but it isn't an improvement. Certainly far away from the 3/10 of a second or so that he needed. There is Scott Kostridge in the Porsche as well. He's not set a time in this session, so he'll be starting from the back at a circuit where it's relatively difficult to overtake, but by no means
impossible. There's loads of opportunities here, you know, run down into turn number 1, not really an opportunity up into 2 and 3. You're going uphill, it's very, very dangerous. Through 3 right the way down to 5, they've got to be sensible, not best to go too wide. Out of 5 into 6, you've got a good opportunity. Right into 7 if you can sneak up the inside. But other than that, it's that run down from 7 to 10A that will provide you with the most amount of overtakes into the chicane, the left-right. That should be where you get most of the job done.
Well, let's have a look at the grid. Getting ready for the start of this race with Andy White on the front row ahead of Peter Duke. Then it's Harry Hartley-Price and Glenn Ablard on row 2. Phil Giles and Sean Clark share row 3 as the first of the AM drivers ahead of Tim Reed and Mark Wesley. It's Tim Cullimore and Adrian Hapfield rounding out the top 10 with Christopher Haynes and John Johnston on row 6. The final of those two set times. Scott Kostridge and Baz Cutting are on the grid already. They will be racing even though they didn't set times. Jared Love hopefully will be racing as well. Although not sure.
No, he's not. He said my whole village had a power cut right before qualifying. Was the fastest AM time in practice, so he's got to sit here and watch it live. It'd be interesting to know what village you're talking about, Jared. Where do they still, you know, classify? Saying that, I live in a bit. I don't know. I'm a harbour. To be blamed.
Yes, I don't know, to be honest, whether there might be. It does say Scottish according to the our timing here, so I wonder whether it's some remote place.
Yeah, so a cow at the power line. All right, we got you. No dramas.
I'm sure that's
that's fine.
Sure
it's all right. We understand you, and you know you got to get in touch with the clientele and the people watching. You know, and that's the problem for Jared. A cow has gone through the power lines in the Highlands. I don't know.
Yeah. To be fair, I don't know if you remember, a few months ago we did a broadcast where I had pretty persistent power cuts, so I know what it's like. But there was a storm on, so there was an excuse then. Anyway.
You in Manchester?
No, I wasn't at the time, nor I am now. So the power's better up there. Anyway, let's get on with the race, shall we? 45 minutes in the race, as always. Just the one race this evening, in case you want to see the series before it gets started. How many good race or anything you like. to be honest, to get the fuel that you need to take home? Well, it's going to be Andy White on the front row once again with Peter Duke, who had a fantastic night last night in the GT3, looking to challenge him here in the Acura. The lights are on and they're going to wait quite a long time before getting going. The Mercedes just pulling immediately to the racing line here to take the lead towards turn 1, followed by Peter Duke. Then it's only tries for Ben Abbott. Second and third place side by side. Through the first corner, there's a spin in the background as well. Cross in the background through turn 1. Oh, there's a mess down here. It's a real mess down here, I'm afraid. Tim Cullimore's had to go back to pit lane among 3 other drivers who have also come into contact. It does start with Cullimore as well. He spins around Upall, and as an Acura tried to slow, that's Hadfield, he tried to slow to avoid it. He got hit pretty hard at the rear by John Johnston, I think that was. And unfortunately, 4 cars ended up slowing down against the wheels. Actually, Cullimore and Hadfield have had to go back to pit lane. Yeah,
Cullimore, Hadfield, pit lane, job done. Very happy. Price is your top 5. That line. He literally had them sat there for a good while before he went. So bolted on in that Mercedes. It's not often that you see a Mercedes at the front of the queue here. So I think that's absolutely amazing that we've got a good old back Mercedes at the front of the queue. I'm dealing with that now, Sean.
Over the hill they go, and back down the other side and across the line for Andy White, who's having a fantastic day once again here in qualifying, pole position, and a great start to go with it as well, as he goes in the championship leading by 24 points. If he can finish up inside the top 5 or so today, he can almost get himself to a championship here tonight. Well, unless there's a real disaster from those behind, like Harry Hartley-Price. He can't quite seal it tonight, I don't think. He may only have to start the race next week, though, and indeed do the amount of laps needed to be classified. Meanwhile, this is all going on for the AM lead. Sean Clark having a look here at Phil Giles. 4th, 6th place, Ferrari versus Porsche at the front of the field. It is looking close between these two, and they're off to a good start, and they're quite noticeably actually separated from the rest of the field.
Yeah, they are at the moment. Mike Weasley and Wesley, and Baz Cutting in behind that. Then there's a 6.2 second gap to John Johnston, who was involved in the incidents earlier on. Kosterick, Cullimore and Hadfield pit lane. So we remember they're in pit lane. The Acura of Peter Duke chasing down Andy White. He's trying to escape from Price there. And then we've got a 2.3 second gap to this train of Reed, Giles, Clark, Wesley and Cutting. And they're all having a go at the same time. Let us know if the voices has just sorted itself out. I have made some technical adjustments in the background.
Tweaks to the sound as they make their way out over the line and across in towards turn number 1. This is Reed at the head of the group in the red and white. He's up 2 places from where he qualified, down in 7th, now up inside the top 5 in this race. Phil Giles just in behind him as they make their way now down the hill. Sean Clark next in line. Mark Wesley's there as well. Baz Cutting, who's up 5, by the way. He started right at the very back, so expect to see him, the one who's looking to make moves, I would suspect, first of all. But that's not good news for Reed. He goes a little bit wide, and Giles actually follows him and off. Oh, off in the background. Wesley and Cutting there have come into contact through turn 5. Now, it's unsure as to whether there was a spin first and then contact, or if there was contact then a spin. Let's find out here from the replay. Mark Wesley up on the curb on the inside line, then he gets into the... Oh, wow, synchronised spinning. Wow.
That's impressive.
It is.
They both do it exactly the same time as well. That is amazing. But you see the dangers of curbs outside in turn 5. That's the problem. They've both hit it and they've both done that. And then one goes round, there's the other one. And then there's a nice little pirouette in slow motion there from them as they go and do the same thing. So there we go. Very nice from them guys.
Extraordinary.
Oh no, it looks awesome, doesn't it?
A bit of a spring back for the Acura as well, as it made contact with the wall and the McLaren all at the same time. So what happened there effectively was that Tim Reed went wide through turn 5, just went slightly off course into the gravel slightly, and the 4 drivers behind him all followed him, all into the gravel as well, and the last 2 of which ended up spinning around. So quite an extraordinary moment, but a great display, if you like, of just how tunnel vision works, really. And when you're following someone, it's very difficult to sort of do something different to what they're doing.
Yeah, it is. Here's a suggested YouTube chat, actually. Vert has said both bottomed out. That's possible.
Yeah.
that's caused that. But it's turn 5, it's the curb on the outside of turn 5. We warn them every single race we do at Road Atlanta. They have to watch the curb at 5. Have to watch the curb at 5. And, well, that's one of the joyous occasions and joyous things that happen, unfortunately, from the curb at 5. You hit it, it's one of them, and we say this every single time. You either take all of it or you leave it alone. You can't go and half out that curb, because otherwise, well, that's what happens. You've got to take either all of the curb or just flat out leave it. Don't touch it.
Yeah, you've got to do it with commitment if you are going to. And unfortunately, there wasn't quite such on that occasion. I think one other problem actually that was, especially in the case of Mark Westley, was that he actually clipped the inside curb. So that didn't help either, as he bounced himself out to the outside of the corner. But an extraordinary moment, really, as they both went very wide indeed. And unfortunately, out of contention anyway for this race. Tim Cullimore, by the way, is retired. So he did actually get back going again, Cullimore, from the timing that I was seeing. He was actually back out onto the circuit again alongside Adrian Hadfield. However, he's gone back and retired now. I do wonder whether he'd had a second incident, although I wasn't sure. This could be our answer through turn 5. He's in the gravel, and that's almost an exact replay of what the others did as well. Look at the tyre marks. There's still tyre marks in the grass from the previous crash.
Yeah, it was almost a carbon copy. Turn 5 again. And this is what I mean. But the thing is, Bert's saying it's very tricky corner, and it is, and I fully agree with you. It's very, very tough. But if you lift off early enough at the base of 4 or through the S's, whichever way you want to look at it, you can literally make the corner. So this is the thing. So we'll follow on board here. So we're on the run down into turn 1. We all know about it. You brake on the left-hand side where the exit road is generally just about there. Start going down, bring it into the curb in the right side. Aim for the tree right in front of you. There's a double tree on the left. That's the only place you know where the curb is. On the brakes. In you go to the right. Now this is the situation. You're coming through here at some quite high speed as well. You're picking up speed on the way down, doing north of 130. I generally start lifting and braking here. Try and take a little bit of curb on the inside, and then I roughly do what Price has done. I literally just take just a minute amount to help with rotation. Other than that, I am not touching that curb whatsoever. I am a big wuss when it comes to the curb at turn 5.
It's very, very tricky to get right, and I mean, you can imagine over the course of Petit Le Mans that comes here, the iRacing special event that takes place in September, October time in the autumn in the iRacing calendar season. It is very, very difficult to go around here for 10 hours, indeed, managing that, as we know. Meanwhile, Harry Hartley-Price looks on the way down towards turn 10A about whether there's going to be a move here. No, not for this occasion quite. As Peter Duke hangs on. Glenn Abelard is the one chasing them behind, but the longer this is going on, the more of an advantage Andy White is getting out front in this race. These two, first and third in this race, are championship rivals for this GT3 championship. And at the moment, Harry Hartley-Price is seeing this race go away from him as he challenges again in towards turn 1.
Yeah, he's trying to get past the Acura. I have wondered about purchasing the Acura. Is it a good car? Is it a bad car? Let me know if you've driven the Acura and tell me what you think of it. I have thought about, now I don't do much driving, so this would just probably sit in the garage and get a load of dust, to be honest. Oh, Duke! Oh, Duke got squirrely.
That was a big moment. Oh, and he's in the gravel as well here. Surely this is his chance, and he's got it. Harry Hartley-Price goes straight through, and that had to be his chance. That was a huge moment towards turn 5. It's a miracle he gathered it up, really.
Oh, he done a great job, because I'll tell you what, that was very, very dodgy. I don't know, we could just see there, bang, curb, wiggle, wiggle. He's already all out of sorts now. He's got a panic on, run to the right, and he goes through, and Price takes the position away. The question is Price now going to move away from Peter Duke? Is he going to pull away from Peter Duke? So that's going to be the question here on whether or not Duke's going to be able to get there. Let me know your opinions on the Acura in YouTube chat and tell me what you think. Whether or not it's any good. I don't know why I'm going to ask you, and I don't suppose you have you? Driven it?
I haven't driven it, no.
Oh, okay.
No. Not in iRacing, I must admit. I have driven it in other sims, but yeah, not in iRacing. I think if you're a fan of understeer, it might not be so bad. It is a little bit. I'm talking about previous sims that I've driven it in now, so I don't know how well it translates. But yeah, I found it very difficult to get the rear end to kick out, to be honest. And if you like a car that's on edge to rotate, I don't think it'd be your thing. However, if you like a stable car that is not going to spin round on you through the middle of a high speed, middle speed corner, then it is all right. I must admit, I really like the way it sounds as well, although it does sound a bit strange.
It does, but it reminds me of a very Audi-esque machine. You know, the way the body, yeah, the way the bodywork works of the Audi, the way that sort of bubble that they've got kind of almost going on with it. But I do wonder whether or not it's as loose as the Audi. I do wonder whether or not you get in it, and if you set it up right, you could end up spinning quite a lot. Or is it quite cemented where it's a very stiff car and you've got to try and get it rotated? I've often wondered. I have thought about buying it.
Yeah, it's interesting. It is interesting. I really enjoy the fact that it's in iRacing, by the way. Say one of the most unique sounding engines in the field, and a really nice car to look at as well, I think. But yeah, I haven't driven it myself just for the moment. He is losing time though. There's Peter Duke here compared to Harry Hartley-Price, but surely he's going to be high on confidence. We were doing the GR86s last night, and he was absolutely flying. Was by far the best driver on the night.
Yeah, it was really good. The GR86s, I loved it last night. Summit Point as well. Whew. Awesome, Jack. Go back and watch it. The racing was mint as well, so definitely go and have a look at that one. Giles here is left Sean Clark. Clark has been left to stand in, and Giles leads the AMS at the moment. In fact, Giles is closing in on Tim Reed rather than the other way round. So Reed in the Porsche there, he's got the Ferrari of Giles closing in on him. Hartley-Price is trying to escape, but the problem is every time he escapes, he gets onto turns 7 to 10, and he ends up being pulled in by the Acura and the Draft. Don't worry, guys, we can count, but we don't count 8 and 9. They are just not even corners.
Yes, I'm going to dispute 8 and 9. I really don't know where the corners are counted here, as I mention every time I'm doing a broadcast around here. But anyway, that is something I'm sure you're very aware about watching this at home. It is looking like a fairly long shadow at the moment, I must admit, the circuit at the moment, as we approach quarter distance, or 1/3 distance rather, in this race. It's just 9:05 in the morning, and the early part of March, so not racing too far ahead of where we are in the real world, but not too high on the temperature here this afternoon, just 19 degrees as Baz Cutting makes his way down the outside of Adrian Hadfield, putting currently 8th place in the championship standings, moving himself up to 11th place in this race for these two delayed Acuras.
Yeah, they've both been battling out, but Hadfield made that very, very easy out of there as well. Race 2, though, I got sent to Narnia, says Sean Atkinson. You're up to the Shadow Realm, Sean, doing your own audition for Stranger Things Upside Down Ragnarok there, I tell you.
Yeah, he did have a good race one though, as he mentioned. So yeah, we'll look forward to seeing what he does next week in the final round of the GR86 series. Of course, will be covered again on Sunday night here, same time, same place as you found it last night. As we're into lap traffic, by the way, in this race. That is Scott Kostrick. No, excuse me, that is Jared Love. Jared Love's got out onto the circuit. So his internet's been plugged back in. The cows have been put back away in wherever they're kept, and Jared Love's back out onto the circuit again, albeit many laps down. He's actually only just completed lap 2. We're just starting lap 11 now in this race, but Jared Love's getting a bit of a run out towards the end here, and he's gained a place on Tim Cullimore now as well. Yeah,
he's going out to get points on the board, isn't he? You know what I mean? Why not? He's got 30 minutes to go. Go and enjoy your 30 minutes, Jared. See what you can do there, son. On that one. I do love that reference. Cows have been put back in the pen for him. But yeah.
He's going to get to 14th place as things stand. That'll be 5th in the AMS. Effectively, the point system here for this series, by the way, is effectively going down in threes for every position. So it's effectively just 3 points per position, which makes it pretty easy to work out. And if I tell you that Andy White, that in that case, is 24 points ahead of Harry Hartley-Price, then you can deduce from that he's 8 positions ahead, if you like. Now, can he move it up to 9 positions here in this race? It would be like that if the race remains like this to the finish, which is unlikely. But if it does, then he will be 9 positions ahead. Effectively, he either needs to finish, in that case, within 9 positions of Harry next week, or hope that less than 9 pros turn up next week. There are 8 here at the moment, so you can see why it is actually very important for Harry Hartley-Price to beat Andy White today if he wants to beat him in the championship. He's not going to win on countback either unless he wins these last 2 races. Andy White's already got 2 wins out of the first 4.
Yeah. I think it's just really for Hartley Bryce here, I think, is trying to stay within that area of White, isn't it? And making sure that he can try and pick up points if White makes a mistake. White does look quite unstoppable in a Mercedes. And it's been a while since I've seen a Mercedes at the front of the field in a GT3.
Yeah, it's not used very much anymore, is it? Since it was since this Evo version was released quite a few years ago now. It was the car to have at that stage, but not really anymore. I guess people who really enjoyed it when it first came out, the first version of the AMG came out in 2016, 17, whenever it was, the replacement to the SLS, which was used about 10 years ago. I think people who enjoyed it back then will certainly be still using it now and enjoying the Evo version even more in iRacing, but there aren't that very many of those people. Lots of people wanting to go out and choose something else these days, because plenty of time has gone by since the very first version of this car was released, that's for sure.
Yeah, but everything's shiny and new, isn't it? You know what I mean? They've probably released the Acura and all of a sudden they've had a rush of Acuras, or, you know, they've released something, the Mustang and the Corvette, because I know I went and got the Corvette as well. But that's the thing. You can drive this car and you can drive it well. There's no reason you can't be up the front end of some of these with these cars, because I think it's still got presence, it's still got its position, it can still do what it needs to do, and I like the Mercedes. I own the Mercedes as well. I do like the Mercedes.
Yeah, it's a nice stable platform to have. You especially want it round here for Petit Le Mans. I was talking about earlier on. It's a nice consistent car if you're looking for that thing. Just less than half an hour to go. There was a brief exchange of position between Tim Reed and Phil Giles, by the way, for 5th place earlier on. At last lap, I'm talking about here. They think it was in towards the chicane on the last lap. But Reed is back through into 5th place. This is a slight problem for the AM leader. Doesn't want to get caught behind any of the pros here and allow Sean Clark back into this 2.5 seconds further down the road in 7th place. Doesn't want to get drawn into a battle and start losing a lot of time. So he's got to be very careful here. Either make the move quickly and get on with it and go and push on afterwards, or stay behind and just hope that Reed is going to provide the speed to get away here. And at the moment, Giles is putting a lot of pressure on the Porsche up over the top of the hill here.
Yeah, I think, to be fair, if I was Giles, I'd look at trying to make it the move as best as I possibly can here. I think get the job done. You know, he's not bringing him into Clark. You know, Reed's on a 1:18.93 last time around, and Giles did Reed did a 1:19. No, he did a 1:20.12. Giles did a 1:19.6. So Giles was half a second quicker. So in hindsight for Giles, should he really try and clear him? Is Sean going to really catch him with 26 minutes to go? That's the problem. But we've got a great little ding-dong happening down here. Scott Kostrick and John Johnston fighting it out.
Yep. Still going on at the moment. In YouTube chat, Sean Atkinson is asking, is it the next update we get a big graphics update with the new engine? I don't personally know the answer to that, actually. But I know they are working on it. I can't find anything that suggests it is this update, but it might. But also can't find anything that suggests it's not. So it could be. It could be. We'll see. I'm not sure the new season has been announced yet in terms of what they're quite going to do. So we'll keep an eye on that. As always, of course, as we watch this battle for 9th place, it does look like Scott Kostrich is going to be able to get through here in the next few moments on John Johnston, who is just up in 9th place at the moment. Behind him is Aidan Hatfield, by the way, in the 12th position, and just in behind them it is not sure actually at the moment. Is it Mark Wesley? No. Oh, maybe it is. Yes, it is. Yeah, sorry, it is Wesley at the back end of the group. So 4 drivers covered by a very small margin indeed there. Cutting is very much on his own, down in 11th place. Here comes Kostrich now, though, on the inside line. Oh, it's going to be stuck here through the final corner, which does get tricky. Round the outside for Johnston, who hangs on for the moment. And here comes Hadfield trying to unlap himself.
Yeah, Hadfield That's great. He's trying to unlap himself, but he causes any drama, he's going to be in the deep doo-doos without a paddle. He's got to be mindful that these guys are still racing. Jesus!
What is he doing there? And he stops there, I think, almost to restrain himself as he goes off the road. That was so close to disaster. I'm not sure whether that provided the chance for Kostric to go through or not, but anyway, he has got through.
He has. I think it's just like kittens. I really... Do you know the worst thing is? I almost expected him to spin across the track. At the moment he went round the outside, as he starts coming through here, he torpedoes, and then that's where I thought it was going to snap back across. And then all of a sudden, well, John Johnson and Kostric would have had their lives flash before their eyes, I think, after that one.
Yeah, it was pretty close to disaster there. As they go side by side again, Johnson can't quite come back through again on that occasion. Giles has got past Reed again here, so that battle for 5th place is not going away, and the AM leader's losing a lot of time getting stuck behind the Porsche of Tim Reed here, so he wants to go through. But now he's under pressure again. Now, is he going to be bumped down the back straight here, or is he going to be challenged by Reed? He's really close in the slipstream. The Porsche hasn't got great legs on the straight, and so this time round he's on the outside line. He's not going to be able to go through. Giles hangs on to 5th position. Clock lurking in the background there, Sean Clock, but he's not getting too close for the moment. He is catching, though, because of this, as Peter Duke has got off through turn 1 and has lost 3rd place.
Yeah, I'm just trying to find that. It hasn't registered that he's had any drama, but I think he ran out. Oh, I'm scared for Hadfield here. I really am scared for Hadfield.
Oh.
I don't think Duke is going to be best impressed with that.
No, Hadfield letting one through, Hartley Price, and then not Duke. Yeah, probably should have got out of the way for all three if he was going to do just one. But anyway, that's Duke going off the road, and now Hadfield has let them all through.
And it will stay out of blue flag conversation. Maybe, Sean, this is the update that we get a new TCR. That would be cool, wouldn't it? I'll even take an old Alpha 155 at this moment in time, like Mr. O'Leary. I'll tell you, anything on the TCRs would be epic.
I know you'd be delighted. I'm not entirely sure there's the appetite for everybody to have it, to be honest, a new TCR.
Yeah, but that's because they're not doing anything with it. People love the TCRs. They love the TCRs, but they're just sick of driving a Honda, an Audi, a Hyundai Veloster and a Elantra. They've had enough. No wonder it's all petering off into yonder and you know, go into an official and there's like 7 of you, if that. You know, because they've had enough of it. They're not doing anything with it. They're chucking GT3s. Oh, Phil. They're chucking GT3s like my son chucks M&Ms, and they're just money spinners, aren't they? They're just a revenue feed for the company, because that's the thing. They don't want to bring out a new TCR because they think they're not going to get the rush like they would. How many GT3s have we got now? How many GTPs have we got now? You know, come on, work on something else. I tell you what, if another announcement comes out that we're going to get the Ferrari Evo version of whatever this is, it would just be a catastrophe. I've just about had enough of reading in every update so far a new GT3, like the Porsche. You had a nice new shiny Porsche, and then gee whiz, a few months later or something, they give us another nice shiny Porsche. You know what I mean? Give me something else.
Yeah, sure, I can just say he's never tried them. So there you go. That's a surprise. Now I get what you mean about the fact that if they're not updated and there's not new cars coming out, then people aren't very likely to try them. But yeah, maybe you are right. It does need a new lease of life. The TCR class. We'll see whether it gets it or not. Just ahead of the new 2025 real season, as far as the touring cars are concerned. So we'll look forward to that. Meanwhile, Glenn Ablard's in traffic here as he tries to hold on from Peter Duke. There is John Johnson just pulling over to the left-hand side, pulling out of the way. Hartley Price just in the McLaren, just up ahead there in the second position, and Duke follows through. So he's able to follow and able to get again close to the Mercedes. However, This is going to be difficult for Peter Duke now to bounce back, if you like. He's had that moment where he's got off the road at turn 1. Now he's looking to come back again, try and get back onto the podium here with just over 20 minutes to go. And pit stops, by the way, are underway because Sean Clark just came in last time round.
Yeah, Christopher Haynes has come in as well. Okay, maybe that wasn't on purpose. I feel
got damage.
Yeah, he's done something dramatic here. This is going into 6, through 7, off the curb. Oh no, he's already got the damage.
Okay. Well, maybe he's hit the wall through turn 5 again.
No.
Everybody else has. No, not through here.
He's got it there as well. He's obviously hit
already
somebody.
got the damage here too, yeah. This is. Oh, and he's got a lot of understeer. That's the point at which he's realised quite how much understeer he's got. Was he the one who rear-ended? Yeah, he might have been the one who rear-ended Adrian Hadfield or somebody when we were going through turn 1, lap 1. It was him. I thought it was John Johnston. I got that completely wrong. It was Christopher Haynes, wasn't it? Have a look at this.
Boom!
Bang! Straight into the back of Adrian Hadfield. All sorts of bodywork flying all over the place. 4 cars involved, and so he's been soldiering on with that for quite a while.
Yeah, he's been going for, what's that, over 20 minutes with that damage, to be blatantly said. I've just had a count up as well. We've got 11 GT3s. 11! And only 4 TCRs. I feel there's a complete imbalance there to TCR drivers. I wouldn't even care if it was because they're based off the American TCR series, aren't they? That's what we're getting them from. You know, they're both in the pit lane together. I was just about to say Ablard and Duke there, but White's also in that. So that has freed up Hartley Price to go round one more time. Tim Reed, what are you going to do when you run round turn 11 down to 12? You're slowing down into pit lane. So it's going to be Hartley Price will be the man who will be the only one who hasn't pitted. So, yeah, I don't even care if we get American TCRs. We ain't going to get the BTCC because of the hybrid system, but give us something.
No, it's unlikely to get the BTCC because it's British anyway, to be honest, rather than the fact that hybrid or anything else. It's very Americanised, obviously, iRacing, for obvious reasons. White, meanwhile, on the way out of pit lane, and he will return in second place. So, clearly, it's a very narrow pit window, to be honest, because we're only 4.5 minutes away from halfway here. It means that only 4 minutes, realistically, before that halfway point would you want to be coming in. That's when Clark came in. And, Duke has jumped Ablard here. Well spotted. 1.7 seconds.
4 seconds.
Pit stop was 3.5 seconds quicker for Peter Duke. That's how he's out in front.
Yeah, he jumped him. I was going 4, but yeah, we'll go 3. That's fine. Yeah. Jesus, Peter Duke. Let's hope Duke can get to the end. Duke has got... Oh, no, the only other one faster than that was Tim Reed. Andy White was about 15.5. Hartley Price is in. White is on his run down into 10A.
Yeah, I'd imagine he will retain the lead. This is a big lead he's got now, though, as well, over Duke. 15.5 seconds for Andy White. I think rather than it being a concern Duke making it, I think Ablard's pit stop was just longer and too long, to be honest, at 21 seconds. That's the longest pit stop we've got in the top 8 at the moment. So that's a real big hit for him. Meanwhile, here comes the Mercedes. There is Harry Hartley Price on pit lane, getting his fuel, and White goes through, roaring past. The pit stop time was 1.5 seconds slower for Hartley Price. He's got a lot of work to do here if he wants to win this race.
Too long. He's not going to catch him. No offence to Hartley Price. It's too far back. Nowhere near it. Your pit stop was way too long. 17 seconds, 1.5 seconds longer than Andy White, who pitted in a lap earlier. So it should have really been the other way round. He's flashing the hell out of that Ferrari of Chris Haynes at the moment. It's Hartley Price trying to get through. Haynes does it, eventually let him go there. But that is it. That's kind of poked the situation, and everybody's a little bit more spread out here.
Yeah, they are. Although Sean Clark has jumped Phil Giles in the pit lane in the AM class. Now, I don't know how that's happened, to be honest, because his pit stop was only a second shorter. That has not earned him the amount of seconds he's got on the racetrack at the moment. So I wonder what's happened here to Phil Giles in the pit stop window and whether he's gone off anywhere. But anyway, he's lost the lead, and he will be losing points in that case in the championship if things stay as they are.
2 seconds. I'm trying to work that out here. Because I've got him entering and exiting twice.
Ah. That might explain why, I suppose. Even if it is just a drive-through penalty or something.
So hold on, he went in there, he's in there.
This is his stop.
And then he goes in again. Here.
So, second time into pit lane. If he was speeding on the way in, or unsafe pit entry, then he would have been served in his first pit stop. So does he just drive down the left-hand side of the pit lane without going into the box? He's drifting over again here. Towards his... Or is he just drifting to the middle of the road? No interest in going to the right-hand side for his stop. Someone's rejoining at the same time. This is awkward. Side by side. And yeah, it was a drive-through penalty for Giles. Not sure why. Either speeding on exit, I suppose, or unsafe pit exit.
Yeah, either one. Or he could have got an unsafe pit entry, for all we know. Because depending on how he comes down.
He would have served it. He would have served it in the first pit stop if it was on the entry.
You are right. It would have done. So,
yeah.
Go on, sorry.
No, I was just saying, it's got to have been after the stop where the infringement was, because otherwise it would be served here. So, what happened? Didn't look like he was speeding to me there. He had his limiter on. Did he?
Wrong side of the blue line.
Yes, he did.
Yep.
He did.
Wrong side of the blue line on exit. And that could explain that one. So there we go. Sean Bonici, good day, folks. Good day, Sean. How are you? Hope you're well. Thank you so much for joining us as well. So well played. But Abelard now in Duke. Closest battle on the racetrack. Everybody else a little bit more spread out.
Absolutely. Oh, hello. Oh, it's a big slide. Very big slide for Abelard there. You can see that happening through turn 5. You can see it coming. And he's just about gathered it up in the end. But goodness me, that was pretty close to disaster for the driver of the Mercedes there. Glenn Abelard now makes his way around the turn 7. Tight right-hander. And will try and regather himself in his charge for third place. But it's a good save. You don't often see the Mercedes getting away from you like that. But it certainly did over the bumps that time round.
Yeah, it can do at times, the Mercedes. I find when I used to drive, you've got to be nice and gentle. You know, you can't treat it rough. It's got to be a Netflix and chill night with her, because otherwise she ain't going to like any of it at all. Doesn't like having the throttle slammed down. Doesn't like because the back end just goes all over the place. You've got to be nice and gentle with the Mercedes.
Yeah. Although it does come with the advantage that it is savable, unlike the Audi. When it does go wrong, you can correct a slide on occasion, which is helpful, but not in the Audi, as we all know. Down the hill, through the S's, and this is getting close now as we ride on board. Can he get it right this time through turn 5? Nicely done that time from the both of them, actually. That was a lot better. Maybe just a little bit of a slower entry from them both that time round, and power out on the exit with a better way to go, certainly the safer way to go. Maybe even a little bit quicker as well, but Duke will certainly be coming under some pressure now. And there is a little bit of traffic just up ahead of them as well. Kostrick is in 8th place further up the road. Whether they'll catch them by the end of the race, I'm not entirely sure. But let's see. Up into the slipstream goes Abelard. The Acura certainly getting reeled in here. They now get up into 6th, right down the other side of the hill. And Abelard's looking down the inside, almost accidentally goes for it. Oh no! He was coming in late. He spun him around. He spun round Peter Duke. And now then, they've got to get going again quickly here, because coming up onto them is going to be Tim Reed in a few moments' time. But you could see it happening. Abelard was almost accidentally alongside there. He just clips Duke, who goes into a spin down at turn 10A.
Yeah, Reed was coming at him, but Reed's still 8 seconds back at the moment. Duke, I think they let each other back through, so Abelard let Duke back through again.
Yep.
I don't know, there was, oh dear, he's turning in on him, come out of my mouth at the time, and the problem was he definitely looked like he had, but I don't know, was it early? Was it a turn-in early point? That's the question. Or was Abelard had no right to be alongside him?
I'd say I don't think Abelard even intended himself to be alongside him at that point. I think he just broke where he normally does, came in with a little bit more speed and ended up clipping him there. He was quite late to be coming down the inside, although I'm generally, not a fan of, if you've got your nose ahead, you have a right to just turn in for the corner anyway, even if there's someone alongside you. Not really a fan of that, but I don't think it was one of those occasions. Abloh was coming in maybe a little bit late on that occasion, but who knows? It seems that they've resolved it between themselves anyway, because Abloh has let Duke back through, and Duke's actually powered on up the road.
Yeah, he has. He's now motored away from him, which is, I think Ablard's probably a little upset about that. He allowed Duke to go back through, we're going to presume, and now Ablard's just gone, well, cheers for that, I'm off, see you later, and left him there. Right, I think Ablard was probably, thinking, well, come on, slow down, we can have a battle, but no, Duke's got a better idea than that and run off.
Indeed, yeah. And it's a real contrast, actually, to what happened when Duke was last off the road and interrupted by somebody else. Adrian Hatfield, in towards turn number 1, didn't quite get out of the way in the way that Duke was expecting a few laps ago in the first half of this race. Duke went off, and after that, he did seem to be a little bit rattled by it, and he wasn't quite as quick. He was suddenly down in 4th place and seemingly struggling, but actually, after this bit of a problem, he's put it behind him very quickly indeed, or whether that's Ablard slightly... not rattled himself there, if you like, from that incident, I'm not sure. But Duke has certainly responded to this setback a lot better.
Yeah, he has, and he's done a great job. Abloh again sliding the back end of the Mercedes. That's just getting on the power a little bit too quick. Baz Cutting has unfortunately been cutting the grass by the looks of it. Coming up into turn 3, he's going to go straight over. He's missed that. And then there we go. Onto the grass he goes. So cutting the grass.
He followed and... Phil Giles, actually, who was slightly wide over the top of the hill there. And he's now 9.5 seconds behind Sean Clark, by the way. So this is a big turnaround for Giles, who's going to miss out on the race win here by the looks of things in the AM class. He managed to win and extend his margin by another 9 points over Sean Clark last week. As Jared Love and Tim Cullimore joining him on the podium. Yeah, that is correct, excuse me. Love finishing second and Cullimore third. Ahead of Sean Clark, who finished 4th in the AM class in the end of that race. So he's going to take a hit of 3 points on this occasion, but still a comfortable championship margin. I'll just tell you about what the championship would look like going into the last round if things stay as they are right now. Giles will be leading by 24 points over Sean Clark. That's effectively 8 positions in the field. And Andy White would have exactly, or a bigger margin actually, he'll have 27 over Harry Hartley-Price, so that would be 9 positions in the field. If the same amount of numbers who have come today attend the final round at Donington Park in a week's time, then these two will be champions as long as they're just classified from the day. It doesn't matter where they finish. However, you never know how many people are going to turn up, and so they've still got to put the work in next week just in case things go wrong and they have the championship stolen away right at the very end.
Yeah, you definitely don't want that to happen, and we've seen that in multiple other series as well, going into the final round and the leader of the championship makes a boo-boo and it all goes wrong. I think a lot of the time it's all about having the confidence at the circuit that you've ended up on, making sure that you know the circuit we're going to. We're going to Donington next time out, and at the end of the day, I think, for the leaders of the championships at the moment, it's just sitting there thinking, right, I've got to get through this. So Phil Giles and Andy White, they've just really got to make sure that they finish and classify themselves. Preferably, top 5's always a safe bet when it goes into the final round.
Yeah, it is. You've got to be thinking about that going into Donington Park. And especially in Andy White's case, actually, because Harry Hartley-Price is very local to Donington Park, as am I. And so he will certainly know that circuit very well. It's the nearest track to him in the real world. So, as I say, he will certainly have done his fair share of laps around there. And you never want to be going up against your championship rival at a circuit they're comfortable with into the final round. And at the moment, that's what Andy White is sort of putting onto everybody, really, by winning this race. He's putting down a marker that he doesn't really need anything from the final round, and he's just going to take home the championship anyway as he makes his way here through the S's and in towards turn 5, doing absolutely all he needs to do just for the moment.
Yeah, absolutely. You panicked then as well, didn't you?
Went slightly wide.
Yeah, he did. He come out of 5, slightly offline. I heard you cut off then, and I thought, oh, dear me, he's going to go and put it in the wall or something now we've said that. But he's gone out and drove, you know, almost the perfect race, the perfect storm kind of scenario. He hasn't put a foot wrong. He's not had any issues to deal with. And to be honest, I think he's just done a great job. And it's great to see a Mercedes winning. It really is.
Yeah. You don't often see it too much anymore.
And not even in Formula One.
No. Well, they won a couple of races this season, didn't they? They had one too.
Mate, I don't know. Did they actually?
Yeah, they did. Yeah. It's the first ever season in the history of F1 that there was 4 teams with 1-2s in a race.
Oh, so, it goes to show how much I didn't watch of it last year, wasn't it?
Well, I didn't watch the full races, just the highlights, but that's because that's
all
you need.
Is that
Oh dear! Meanwhile,
John
Johnson off the road there. He's got a bit of front end damage there, and Baz Cutting works his way through out of turn 7. That is one of the easier passes that he has made, going into the top 10 this time round, with a slightly misshapen Porsche now in his rearview mirror. John Johnson there with a bit of damage to the front right.
Oh, when doesn't the Porsche look misshapen or something, when somebody's gone and done something in it? Porsche doing Porsche things. I saw loads of it on Sunday. It was a race I covered on Sunday, and literally the Porsche was absolutely damaging itself continuously there, and it was a bit of a nightmare. But yeah, Porsche doing Porsche things, and that was at Mount Panorama that it was doing that.
Oh, okay. Yeah, well, I suppose that makes sense in that case. It's a difficult circuit, certainly, in the world of GT3 racing, where it is used fairly often. As I mentioned, we are at Donington Park in 1 week's time in this series. Very different circuit indeed, but I think the one that suits GT3 still quite well. And with just over 3 minutes to go and another lap starting here for Andy White, there is just the one battle that might close in towards the very end here between Peter Duke and Glenn Abelard. Initially, after the contact, Abelard started to lose quite a lot of time, actually, to Peter Duke, who has now just been reeled in again here in this battle for third place. But in the remaining 3 laps, I wonder whether Abelard is just going to run out of time.
Yeah, I think it might be a little bit too late. Little too late here for Duke and Abelard. I don't think Abelard's going to quite get there. They're going to have one more probably after this. One more maybe.
2 more.
2 more. So I think, well, I say that, but he's just pulled out 3 tenths on him. So I suppose it could be battled, and we might have a last lap battle here.
He's getting closer out of turn 7. And again, he's got a better exit here. So by the end of the straight, he's going to be less than half a second away. And you just wonder what's happening here to Peter Duke and how this race is starting to unravel for him. Through the final corner comes White, and he takes 2 laps to go now. But what about these two? Duke versus Abelard again down in towards the chicane. This is where they had their contact a few laps ago, and they will avoid it this time round. But Glenn Abelard's way closer than he was before, and Duke again with a poor run out of the corner on the way up the hill, which is especially bad news. Here comes Abelard now round the final corner, 3.5 tenths with 2 laps to go.
Yeah, they're going to be literally 2 tenths before going up into turn 1 now through the right-hander for Abelard. He's got to look and point and see if he can clear Peter Duke. Aiming it at the trees. Through the right-hander they go with turn number 3. Down through, start coming in through the S's of 4. They've got the tricky 5 coming up, Ewan. They've got to bury this for the next 2 laps.
Really have. This is going to have to be taken with full commitment here. And that's very nicely done, is it? No, he's just got it wrong there, Duke. He was trying to push. You could see him pushing as hard as possible, doing exactly what you said, leaving it all out on the line. But I'm afraid he's just had a big slide through there this time round. Glenn Abelard much more safely secured over the bumps there in the Mercedes. And so Duke saves himself from spinning, but he doesn't save his 3rd place, which now goes to Glenn Abelard.
Yeah. Told you. Turn 5. Horrible turn when you get it wrong. And Duke, I think, is probably going to be kicking himself a little bit. He only had to just take it, and that was it. But, you know, one more time after this, that's all he had to do. Me, personally, I would have been a little bit cautious. A little bit cautious. Just go in a little bit slower than you normally would. Not to the point of where Abelard gets you on the exit, but just a slight little lift a little bit earlier.
It's a real shame for Duke, who's only got one lap to do this now and get back in him through the white flag. I wonder how committed he's going to be down the hill and through turn 5 this time round. This is going to be quite something to watch down here.
Yeah, through 4 they go, start wiggling their way through the S's. This is where it's all going to be on the line again. What is Abelard going to do? What is Duke going to do? Abelard goes out, tentative. Oh. Here comes Duke. Duke went the other way. He threw it through that corner, but you can see Abelard a little bit more tentative this time around.
He was so slide. What would you say? I don't even know.
Slow.
So slippery through that corner now, and he slipped to the outside of the corner. And Duke's got a better run here out of turn 7. This is going to be on down at the final chicane. Meanwhile, time has elapsed, and Andy White's coming down the hill for the final time here into the final corner. He's going to win round 5 of the Clark St James GT3 Championship here in the Tanso Racing Group. There's the checkered flag as he puts one hand on the championship trophy. Who's going to get onto the podium? It's a battle for third. Duke's down the inside of 10A. Ablard's on the inside for 10B. But it's going to be the Acura that prevails. Peter Duke gets his position back after a mistake only 2 laps ago at turn 5. He's got it ahead of Glenn Abelard eventually, who ends up finishing 4th.
Yeah, Sean Clark's going to take the win in AMS. That was after Phil Giles's pit stop situation where he got a penalty on the exit. So Sean Clark there, who, to be fair, didn't look like he would have taken the AM win. Giles was looking very quick, and unfortunately just a mistake from Giles has cost him. But that's sim racing. That's what we do, isn't it? And this is the trials and tribulations. However, Phil Giles should have known you stay to the right of the blue cone.
Yeah, you'd think so. It's a bad mistake to make for him as Sean Clark passes his lights and takes the AM victory. Giles will have to finish within 8 positions of him next week in the AM class to take home the championship, although he still very much does have the best seat in the house for it. Let's have a look at the race results with Andy White taking the victory on this occasion ahead of Harry Hartley-Price with Glenn... I was about to say Glenn Duke, just smashing the 2 names together. Peter Duke finishes 3rd, ahead of Glenn Abelard, who finishes 4th. Then Tim Reid, who was actually lurking late on because of all of their problems, those 2. Reid was catching, but never really close enough to do anything. Sean Clark finishes on the first position in the AMS, ahead of Phil Giles. Then you get to those Scott Christopher Haynes and Baz Cutting rounding out the top 10. On just also a lap down with them. Have finished 2. Jared Love ended up retiring pretty late on, but finished 8 laps down in the end ahead of Tim Cullimore, retired very early on after only a couple of laps.
Right, you seem to be going in and out like a robot at the moment. You're in and outing.
I apologise. I can hear you being a robot on my end as well. So I guess it is my. Hopefully, it will just sort itself out.
Yeah, I think one of us is having internet issues here because it's been crackling between the 2 of us there, and that one as well. An interesting race, so guys, let us know what you think in YouTube chat of round 5 at Road Atlanta. It's been a very interesting race here as well. Mr. O'Leary, are you back?
Yeah, I should be.
Yes, you're good. Yes, you are. Yes, I can.
Yep, right. Okay, let's go with some interviews then, shall we? And start with the race winner, Andy White, who has taken victory by just under 5 seconds here tonight at Road Atlanta. Congratulations, Andy, on the win. Your 3rd victory of the season out of 5 now. It was a race of control for most of it. Just to tell us a little bit about how the race was for yourself.
Yeah, it was a good start. There was a few scary moments. Went wide a couple of times, but other than that, it was just managing the tyres, managing the pace, and just trying to keep it clean and out of trouble.
The corner after the S's, turn 5, was the point of contention for a lot of people today. A couple of drivers, you won't have seen this, but a couple of drivers spun in a synchronised manner straight into the wall quite early on in the race. A number of other slides and issues through there as well. Just how difficult were those S's and the final corner, that left-hander over the bumps there at the end of the first sector? Just how difficult was that in these cars?
Yeah, it's really tricky, especially there's just a bump as you turn in, so you can pick up they understand. If you get on the power too early, it'll just push you over the curb into the gravel, and then it's game over. So you've
Absolutely.
just really got to wait.
Sorry, go on.
No, you've just really got to wait for your turn in and get on the power once you feel the grip. But it's very easy to get carried away, get back on the power, and just push yourself over into the gravel.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Well, congratulations on managing that and taking the win here tonight. Is there anyone you'd like to give a shout out to before we let you go?
Obviously, you guys for another great broadcast. Sean for organising it all, and again, everybody who takes part. It was a rough race again, and well done to everybody.
Absolutely. Congratulations on the win, Andy, and we'll see you at the final round next week.
Thank you. See ya.
Thanks very much, Andy White there, the winner here tonight at Road Atlanta, ahead of Harry Price, who finishes second. Congratulations, Harry, on second place finish here tonight. Was there anything you think you could have done to maybe get to Andy White and try and challenge for the race win here tonight?
I tried at the start, battling Peter, and then he made a mistake. Got him, just. And then, I couldn't catch him. I struggled behind some back markers as such, but I couldn't really do anything. Fair play to him.
How was it trying to get past drivers here today, specifically Peter Duke, who you were behind for quite a while, and eventually you would get up into second place where you'd finish? How was it trying to overtake somebody at this circuit?
Oh, it's just I was just waiting on him to have a slight mistake. It's so difficult. I know you've got the long straight, but I just weren't getting any toe. I did get a bit, but by the time I could have done it, it's just too dangerous. So I just kept behind and waited.
All right. Well, congratulations on finishing second in the end. Is there anyone you'd like to shout out before we let you go?
No, just fair play to Andy on the race. I think he might have actually won the championship. I may be wrong. Well, but if it has fair play.
Sorry, it depends how many people turn up next week. So maybe, right. But we don't know yet. We'll have to announce that next week. How are you looking forward to next week, by the way, Donington?
It's my local track, so I'm really looking forward to that. And I hope he has one because he's absolutely killed it this season. He deserves it. I am looking forward to the last one. Going out with bang.
Yeah, absolutely. We look forward to seeing you there. Congratulations on second, and we'll see you next week.
Yeah, cheers. Thank you.
Thanks very much. Harry Price there in second place, ahead of Peter Duke, who ends up third. Well done, Peter, on that third place finish. We were watching you late on there, battling with Glenn Ablott. How was the battle there for that podium place?
Yeah, it was. I made a slight mistake. I was up with Harry for a while, but it was tight, and then Glenn tried to move down the inside into the S's, and unfortunately, I think he just touched my quarter panel and spun us both, but fortunately enough, we got back on and managed to get him into the last corner in the last lap. So I'm happy enough with third. That's 2 nights in a row. I'm knackered.
Absolutely, yeah. We saw you earlier on, by the way, just lapping Adrian Hadfield on the way towards turn one and ended up off the road and dropping down to fourth. And after that, it seemed that you struggled for pace a little bit afterwards. Were you a little bit? What was going on there? Would you say?
I think when you're in the zone, you're trying to catch somebody. You just do it. You're an automatic pilot, and then Adrian just couldn't get out of the way quick enough, and I just lost concentration. And it's hard to get back into that momentum when you've lost. That when you're trying to catch a car. But it's just one of those things, racing incident.
It was very interesting because after the incident with Glenn, you seemed to get straight back on it straight away and pull a second over the Mercedes. But after the one with Adrian, you weren't able to do that. It's very strange how these things work psychologically. But I guess it is just one of those things, as you say. There wasn't anything else to it.
No. For once, I got a good pit stop. I managed to jump Glenn on the pit stop, which helped a bit. So it's all a learning curve.
Well, yes, of course. Well, congratulations on third. Is there anyone you'd like to shout out before we let you go?
No, thank you very much, boys. Super race tonight, and thank you guys again.
Thanks very much. We'll see you next week.
Okay, come on.
Peter Duke there, third place here tonight at Road Atlanta. Let's go down to the AM class now, shall we? Where Sean Clark has taken a sixth place overall, but more importantly, the AM class victory. Congratulations, Sean, on the win. How does it feel to have taken the victory in a race that Phil Giles led for quite a while, and then you were able to stay out the pit lane more than him and take the win? How does it feel to have taken this one?
To take my first ever win in GT3 is just awesome anyway. But you're right, it was a race of the least mistakes, and Phil got a black flag leaving the pits, and that cost him really. We both had some bad offs. We were neck and neck in terms of speed. We weren't far off each other in practice or quali. It was just all about who was going to make the least mistakes, and this track is just one drop of concentration goes and you've had it. What a fantastic race. I am sweating, absolutely sweat. Well, you probably tell I really enjoyed that. Yeah, it was great. I hope it looked as good as it felt from in the car.
Absolutely. It was a good race to watch in the AMs, although we did have to take a bit of time to unpick quite what had gone on for Phil, who, as you say, had to take an extra trip down pit lane after getting a black flag. We managed to figure it out eventually, but we did have to pick it out for a little bit of time. Just how hard was it to not make those mistakes over here, though? Because there were so many occasions where people went off the road. I mean, I don't know if you saw in your rearview mirror, two drivers spinning around simultaneously through turn 5, for example.
Yeah, well, I did hear my spotter say there's been an accident behind, but honestly, I was so focused on just what was in front of me. If we'd have been battling with someone behind us as well, I'm not sure what chaos would have ensued. But when you go up T1, the back wants to kill you and lose you, and then you go over the brow of the hill and come down the S's, and when you come out of those S's to that left. The curbs want you on the right. The sand's just begging for you to come and say hello, and your car nearly always bottoms out. And being a ex F4 driver, it's taken me a lot to drive a GT3 properly around here, as opposed to the F4 line, which is a bit mellower. It's just a fantastic track. I was just saying to the guys, I can't imagine doing the Petit Le Mans round here. It must do your brain in. But yeah, it's really hard to keep on track because the curbs just unbalance the car and make it a totally different drive from almost anything else on the service, really.
Yeah, I can imagine, certainly. Is there anyone you'd like to give a shout out to, Sean, before we let you go?
Well, I've got to mention the company that sponsors this, Clark St James. Got to give a shout out to JT. If it wasn't for JT, Tanso Racing Group and this league would not exist. So he does a sterling job helping us out. And of course, everyone that's taken part in season 5, thank you ever so much, guys. You really made it. It's been one of the best seasons we've had. We've got season 6 coming up soon. So yeah, if you're watching this and you fancy a go, come and join us. And thanks to you guys as well. One more race next week, and it's job done.
Absolutely, we look forward to it. And by the way, the link to the Discord where you can sign up, by the way, for this next season is in the YouTube description in case anyone watching does want to come and have a look. So there you go. Congratulations on the win, Sean, and thanks for coming to chat to us. We'll see you next week.
Will do. Thanks, Ian. Cheers. All the best.
Thanks very much. Sean Clark there in first place in the AM class. Just behind him was Phil Giles, who's still got the championship lead, but is slightly reduced by just a few points. Phil, welcome in. Good to have you with us. How are you feeling after that race there?
Good evening. Tired. It's a horrendous circuit, isn't it? Yeah,
as
very
you don't
tired.
like it?
Oh, it's just those curbs. It's hard. It's hard work. I think the easier circuits that or other circuits I gel with better than that. That was a fight for 45 minutes, and I feel like it.
Oh, fair enough. Okay, interesting. I always think this circuit really quite flows really well. Maybe not in a GT3, to be fair, but yeah, I don't know. It's I guess everyone's got their opinions on the circuit, and that's fair enough. In terms of the season as a whole, you weren't quite able to take yet another race win this season, where you've been pretty dominant, and so Sean Clark has got a little bit closer to you in the championship. It's nearly mathematically sealed, but not quite. How does this race fit in terms of the rest of the season and results-wise?
I'm quite happy, to be honest. I think Sean drove really well, set some good times, and we had a good battle. A couple of points during the race, and we just had a little joke between us. It's the person that made the least mistakes won. So Sean, fair dues, he won. I made far too many mistakes, and having to do a quitting. I went over the white line, leaving the pit, so I had to do a drive through. I went off track, I think about 6-7 times. But thankfully, every one of them was just a track cut, if you like, rather than a spin or anything nasty. So. Yeah, like I said, it was hence why my earlier comment about it being a fight. It was a tough night, and I say hats off to Shorty, incredible drive.
Yeah, difficult race for everybody, that's for sure. Is there anyone you'd like to hear a shout out to before we let you go?
No, thanks Tanso and you guys for your efforts.
Thanks very much. We'll see you in 1 week's time.
Look forward to it. Cheers, mate. Bye.
Thanks very much. That's Phil Giles there, the second place driver in the AM class here.
Did he just say night?
Maybe he's going to bed.
I know. It's just night, boys. I come round with you story. Put you in your bed and took you up there, nice little lad. Bless him.
sounds tired, so maybe he's going to bed afterwards. So,
no.
So there we go. It is nearly 9:30 in the UK, by the way, for reference. So it's not that.
It just made me laugh.
Anyway. Well, that is another round of the Clark St James GT3 Championship over and complete. I did enjoy that, actually, here at Road Atlanta. I disagree with Phil, by the way, about the way the circuit drives. I think this is a great circuit, and I think proved tonight that it has great racing as well, even in GT3s.
Yeah, you can't go wrong at Road Atlanta. The racing's always good. I think, that turn 5 is always the spark point, running down into 1 as well. It's always good racing. It isn't the longest track. So, I can see where sometimes people's opinion comes in thick and fast and comes at you, and then before you know it, you're doing another lap. But I like Road Atlanta. I think it really does make racing great, and I don't think it's that bad in GT3s.
No, neither do I. Well, neither is Donington Park, and that's what we've got coming up next week. We'll be live same time, same place here on the JPB YouTube channel for that, so make sure you check it out. We'll be live, of course, on Sunday as well for the final round of the Consfit GR86 series, so very much hope you can join us for that too. I've been Neil O'Leary alongside James Parfitt, and we see you either on Sunday for the next round of the GR86 series, or indeed the next round of the GT3 series, coming up same time, same place next Monday night. It's goodbye from Road Atlanta, and we'll see you in Donington Park.